March 22nd, 1945. Night. Rhine River. Patton stands in the bank. Across the water, Germany. His engineers tell him they can throw a bridge across before dawn. Patton checks his watch, calculates timing. How long to build the bridge? Hours. How long for Schaeff to send orders? Not instant, but inevitable. He knows. If he asks permission, the answer is likely wait. If he crosses first, permission becomes paperwork. This is why Patton didn't ask permission to cross the Rhine. Pause. It's easier to ask forgiveness than permission isn't just a saying, it's a technique. Patton's about to use it. Recognize that? Comment. March 1945. The Rhine River. Germany's last major natural barrier. Cross it, war's almost over. Two Allied generals preparing. Montgomery, British, 21st Army Group, planning Operation Plunder for weeks. Massive artillery preparation, airborne assault, naval support coordinated, authorized by Eisenhower, publicized to press. British prestige operation. Scheduled March 23rd to 24th. Thousands of troops, weeks of preparation, everything by the book. Patton, American, 3rd Army, also ready, also at the Rhine, but no authorization, no publicity, no coordination with Montgomery's operation, because Patton knows the answer before asking. The political reality. Allied unity requires balance. British morale matters. Montgomery's operation equals weeks in planning, political currency. If Patton asks Eisenhower, "Can I cross first?" Answer, wait. Support Montgomery's operation. Not because Patton's plan is bad, because politics punishes freelancing. So Patton doesn't ask. March 21st. Patton's headquarters, staff meeting. Maps on table, intelligence reports. Oppenheim looks weak. Light garrison, surprised if 3rd Army moved fast. Patton studies map, distance 30 miles, 1 day's advance. Engineers assess, bridge possible with pontoons, 2 hours to construct. Patton calculates silently. Time to reach Oppenheim, 1 day. Time to cross, 2 hours. Time for Schaeff to stop it, not instant. A window exists. What Patton understands, authorization travels through channels. Radio messages require relay. Orders take time. Action is faster than bureaucracy. If he crosses before orders arrive, done deal. Can't uncross a river. If he waits for permission, answer is wait for Montgomery. The choice. Ask permission, get denied, or act and force acceptance. Patton chooses action. March 22nd, evening, Oppenheim. 3rd Army reaches Rhine quietly. No fanfare, no announcement. German defenders across river, minimal, exhausted, not expecting night assault. Accounts describe Patton's message to the 5th Infantry Division commander as simple. Get them across tonight. Without authorization? By the time that matters, we'll be in Germany. 2,200 hours, March 22nd. Engineers begin bridge construction. Darkness complete. No lights. Germans roughly 400 yards away. Pontoon sections assembled, anchors set, decking laid. Infantry waits on bank. Weapons ready. Silent. A combat engineer from the 5th Division later remembered that night. March 22nd, 2,200 hours. Oppenheim Riverbank. Orders. Bridge across Rhine, before dawn, no lights, no noise. He'd built bridges in France under fire, but never like this. every sound amplified in darkness, every minute counted. His team worked fast, pontoon sections connected, anchors secured in current, decking bolted down. Someone whispered, "We got authorization for this?" "Don't know. Don't ask." But he understood. They were racing something. Not Germans. Something else. Around midnight, bridge complete. First infantry squad crossed. Then platoon. Then company. Germans woke up. Fired. Too late. Americans already across. By dawn, battalion in Germany, bridgehead secured. He learned later, no authorization existed. Patton crossed before anyone could stop him. The engineers didn't race Germans that night. They raced bureaucracy, and won. March 23rd, 0100 hours. Bridge complete. Troops crossing steadily. German resistance, sporadic, surprised, overwhelmed. By 0300 hours, substantial bridgehead established. Casualties, low. Dozens, not hundreds. Patton succeeded. Now comes the hard part. Telling Eisenhower. March 23rd, morning. 0800 hours. Patton reaches Eisenhower by radio. Later accounts describe the exchange. Patton put it bluntly. He was already across. The question wasn't whether he could cross. It was what headquarters could do after he had. Eisenhower asks about casualties. Patton reports, low, bridge up, moving inland. What can Eisenhower say? Order him back? Waste the success? Look foolish? Reprimand him? After minimal casualties and bridgehead secured? Court-martial him? For winning? Eisenhower accepts the done deal. Patton's gamble worked. Succeeds so completely that punishment becomes impossible. But Eisenhower knows what Patton did. Acted without authorization. Crossed before asking. Forced acceptance through accomplished fact. That's insubordination. It's also effective. Eisenhower accepts both truths. March 23rd to 24th. Montgomery crosses Rhine. Operation Plunder launches. Massive artillery barrage, airborne assault, coordinated naval support. By the book. Authorized. Publicized. Casualties, far higher, hundreds to over 1,000 depending on how you count the phases. Result, success. Rhine crossed. A foothold in Germany secured. But Patton already there. Crossed with low casualties, dozens, not hundreds, and no headline. Montgomery learns Patton crossed first. Fury. Private, but deep. Nothing to be done. Patton's bridgehead established. War continues. Two philosophies. Montgomery, prepare thoroughly, coordinate completely, minimize risk through overwhelming force. Patton, move fast, exploit opportunity, accept risk for speed. Montgomery's way, far higher casualties, everything authorized. Patton's way, low casualties, nothing authorized. Which was safer? Which was faster? That's the trade. Strategic impact. Rhine crossed earlier than Schaeff planned. German defenses penetrated at multiple points. War shortened, arguably. Political impact. British-American rivalry intensified. Eisenhower's politics became almost as hard as the battlefield. At the top, Allied leaders worried about coordination and optics because prestige operations were political currency. Patton's philosophy vindicated, this time. A good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan next week. That was Patton's war. Initiative over coordination. Speed over authorization. It worked at Oppenheim, but it only works when you succeed. What if Patton failed? If bridge collapsed? If Germans counterattacked successfully? If casualties were hundreds instead of dozens? Court-martial, disgrace, end of career. The risk was real. Success erased it. Doesn't mean it didn't exist. Why Patton didn't ask permission? He'd seen how authorization works. It slows you down. And speed was the only advantage that night. Delay meant opportunity lost. Asking meant accepting no. And Patton never accepted no when he saw a way forward. The cost. Dozens of Americans killed or wounded crossing that night. Engineers who built under pressure without knowing why the rush. Chain of command undermined, if temporarily. The gain. Rhine crossed with minimal casualties, war shortened, success undeniable. Was it worth it? Should Patton have crossed without authorization? Case for Patton. Initiative wins wars. Waiting for permission equals opportunity lost. Dozens of casualties versus hundreds to thousands equals lives saved through speed. Rhine crossed earlier equals war ends sooner. Results justify methods when you succeed. Case against Patton. Insubordination equals dangerous precedent. Chain of command exists for reason. If every general did this, chaos. No coordination. Competing objectives. Success this time doesn't justify disobedience next time. Case for the system. Authorization exists to prevent disasters. Patton succeeded this time. What about generals who tried this and failed? They're forgotten because failure is catastrophic. Orders exist because most gamblers lose. Eisenhower had to accept success. Didn't mean he approved of method. The question remains, when does initiative become insubordination? When does boldness become recklessness? Where's the line between calculated risk and gambling? Patton crossed Rhine, also crossed that line. History remembers the river, forgets the line. Why Patton didn't ask permission reveals how systems work and how they're beaten. The mechanism. Authorization travels through channels, takes time. Action happens faster. In that gap between act and approval, accomplished facts occur. Patton's technique. See opportunity, calculate timing, act before orders arrive, succeed completely, report after completion, force system to accept. Works when you succeed, catastrophic when you fail. Patton succeeded. Bridge stood, casualties low, bridgehead secure. System had to accept. But this technique rarely works more than once or twice per general. Use it too often? Court-martial. Use it at wrong moment? Disaster. Patton used it at Oppenheim because he knew this was the moment. March 23, 1945. Two generals cross Rhine. Montgomery. Weeks of preparation. Thousands of troops. Full authorization. Far higher casualties. Patton. One night, one bridge, no authorization, dozens of casualties. Both succeeded. History remembers both. But only one didn't ask permission. The engineers who built that bridge in darkness, they paid the cost of speed. The dozens of Americans who died crossing, they paid the cost of initiative. Patton got the glory. That's command. That's the mechanism. Why didn't Patton ask permission? He'd seen how authorization works. It slows you down. and speed was the only advantage that night. Patton never accepted losing when winning was possible. Rhine River, March 22nd to 23rd, 1945. Somewhere in that darkness, a line between calculated risk and insubordination. Patton crossed both. One made history, the other made this possible. Patton crossed. History remembers the success. We remember the cost. The engineers, the dozens who died, the line he crossed. That's what this channel does. The full record. Subscribe if that matters to you. Comment. What other costs should we count?